And welcome back. Rejoining the action, 46-36. LeBron James with another bucket. He has 8 points on 3 of 5. He's really attacking here in the second quarter. Big game, James.
And, you know, Michael Jordan, Magic, Bird, you know, Kobe was definitely. And LeBron, it doesn't matter that they're in the bubble or that the season has been disrupted. I'm looking at his face right now, and it looks like he has Game 7 attitude right now. And I mean, physically, the way he's playing, the way he's getting up and down the floor, relentless, going to the hole with authority. Look at that. Who gives out those type of instructions in a bubble scrimmage game? The guy's amazing.
You know the last time we saw that? Dennis Rodman teaching us the art of rebounding in that docuseries. Yeah. Pointing. I mean, that's locked in focus.
Most of those offensive rebounds he got on me.
Great reference, Allie. The Last Dance, Dennis Rodman, absolutely phenomenal. Lakers are shooting over 65%, 16 for 24. And you're right, guys. LeBron James is dialed in, and so are the Lakers. 48-36. Jackson gets knocked away. Boban is there, and Boban delivers off the glass. Kuz, Danny Green, KCP, AD, and LeBron. Backdoor cut along the baseline. What a pass from LeBron James to Kyle Kuzma in the dunk, 50-38. We saw that so much last year, Kuz's first year with LeBron. That eye contact, that ability for LeBron to just see anyone at any time. Jackson up and in. 10-point lead for the Lakers.
A lot of weapons, Geeter. And I think LeBron is smart enough to know that if he can create more weapons, there's the big weapon right there in AD from downtown. But Kuz, you know, Waiters, JR, you know, Pope, anybody that can facilitate and make something happen, LeBron's going to be looking for that type of versatility.
Anthony Davis, Brez, in 2020 was shooting over 40% from 3. In 2019, it was just 28%. What do you think the biggest difference has been those first few months of 2020?
You know, I think it helps, and he had some decent players on his teams in New Orleans for sure. Drew Holiday, pretty established guard in this league. But when you have a guy like LeBron really kind of taking some heat off of you, it allows you to add to your game, kind of expand that repertoire. And I think that is what we've seen from AD. And some of that, too. I really think, I know you mentioned it earlier, but I think AD could be up for a Defensive Player of the Year award, guys.
Great screen right there on the replay from Danny Green. As Kuz backdoor, and what a pass by LeBron James. And you got to credit Frank Vogel. When AD was missing threes early in that season, he told him he wanted him to keep shooting. 5 a game. And now you can see the confidence. As Brez said, you got the playmaker with LeBron James. You got wide open looks. Kuz, confident.
I like that, though. I want to see Kuz get very confident. A little bit slow in the last few weeks going into the shutdown. Speaking of confidence, how about that?
That started with a breakup of a pass, Brez, KCP, and LeBron James in transition. Just forget about it, Allie.
I mean, look out. He told you. He's ready to destroy anyone who comes in his way.
And, you know, there were a couple players there that, you know, could have made an attempt. They just got out of the way. Yeah. Because when LeBron picks up steam, there's no stopping him.
Big game. It's a scrimmage. Get out of the way. I always say it. It's not worth it.
Move. Get out the way.
It's a great song. I don't blame him at all. I would
Peter, shout out. Great song.
Lakers by 11. Kuz. Danny Green, can he get it off in time? Yes. In and out. And that'll do it for the first half from the NBA campus in Orlando with the score at halftime, 55-44. Keep it right here. We'll check in with the Access Sports Net studio for the Jack in the Box halftime report right after this.
In Orlando, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers taking on the Mavericks in scrimmage number 1. First quarter, Lakers down 14. LBJ gets inside the paint. Brez
leads the league in assists by a country mile, 76 more than anyone else. That's a pretty nice one right there.
Then, of course, AD doing work, big game.
Yeah, you get him in a certain position. He has so many options. There he is on the lob. Great footwork inside. Getting it done.
End of the first quarter, it's Dion Waiters, new face to Laker Nation.
Sit
5
down,
seconds
young man.
left.
Sit down. Sit down, young
Sit
man.
down.
Sit it down. Sit it on down. There you go.
Drains the 3-ball. Second quarter, it's Luka Doncic down the lane for the dunk. Mavs down 1. Then it was time for the King to do work. Gets inside, gets the bucket, big game.
But Mark Jackson used to say, "Mama, there go that man."
Assisting, another one there to Dwight Howard. And then what'd you say, big game?
Nobody wants to get in front of a freight train. You know, you don't even want to reach in. Because if you reach in and he hits you, you might break something. He's a freight train, man. And he's focused.
Your first half highlights, your first half score. Lakers lead it by 11 over the Mavericks. According to Frank Vogel, prior to the game, Anthony Davis, LeBron James putting in a nice first half for themselves, but are done for the day. Only to play the first half in scrimmage number 1. More to come on the Jack in the Box halftime report. LeBron looks like he's in a mid-season form. Even for July, it's halftime in Orlando. The Lakers lead Dallas by 11. Lakers stats of the Lakers dynamic duo. Very efficient. 12 points for the both, 4 of 6, 5 of 7. 3 boards, 5 assists for King James, 2 steals there for Anthony Davis. Brez, we've been wanting to see what LeBron James would look like after this 4.5-month hiatus. Put on a show.
You know, it's been such a bizarre time for everybody, and I like what LeBron has said during his brief time in the bubble. He said, you know, it was great to spend time with family. You know, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but you know he was hungering to get back out on that court. He's been talking about the washed king and how there were kind of some whispers maybe after last season. He played only 55 games. The Lakers won only 37
in 15 minutes. The Lakers lead the Mavs by 11. The Jack in the Box halftime report continues after this.
Yeah, it's real nice.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, that's the thing with LeBron. I almost wonder if both things are true. So in the one sense, yes, it would have been ideal for him to carry forward that traditional load that he had been building. But at the same time, I do think it's kind of nice that he did get a chance to get some additional time off on those legs. And then this is part of the reason why it's nice they're having these 3 scrimmages. And the Lakers can almost treat the 8 seeding games like preseason games in a sense, Geeter, because they don't have to win, you know, most likely many games to keep their seed. And so they can, LeBron can use that time to ramp up as opposed to a team like the Pelicans or the Blazers or the Grizzlies, where they're really in kind of win mode in order to try to just get into the postseason.
Mike, I want to give you these post-All-Star numbers for LeBron. 30 points, 9.5 assists, 8.2 rebounds, 55% from the field, 37% from 3.
Yeah, he was ramping up, and I think this is the thing, Chris, that we didn't get to see last year, that if you watch LeBron at his previous stops that were so commonplace, he always built towards that postseason. That was when he played his best basketball. Of course, 8 straight trips to the finals. Well, last year, the Lakers were in the 4 spot. Around Christmas, that's when he goes down with the groin injury, and then Lonzo gets hurt, Ingram gets hurt, and the whole thing sort of fell apart from there. So Laker fans never got to see LeBron have that ramp up towards the postseason. That's what we were seeing in the games that you mentioned, Chris, after the All-Star break, and it's going to be interesting to see how he uses this next month before I think August 17th is the date that the first round is going to start.
Quinn Cook taking over those point guard responsibilities. There's Kuz. Kuz off the pick and roll. Slip screen from Jared Dudley. And he hits the rim. 59-50 here in the third quarter. Chris McGee, Mike Trudell is with me right now. We also have James Worthy, Allie Clifton, and Mike Bresnan back in the studio. And Mike, Kyle Kuzma will always be a conversation for Laker fans. He's that one holdover from the young Lakers core. And I'm talking back all the way to Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell, and you go to Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance, Jordan Clarkson. Kuz is the one guy still here, and people so badly want him to be that number 3 guy. Kuz has had to learn on that great pass to JaVale McGee how to fit with this team and put championship aspirations as the number 1 goal, and he's done that.
Yeah, I think the Kuzma discussion to me is a little bit less complicated, I think, than sometimes it's gotten. Like, the biggest thing is that his minutes went way down because he has 2 All-NBA forwards on his team, right? So his production, of course, was going to drop as well. His rhythm was going to drop as well, and he's trying to focus on, as Jared Dudley has told us, Chris, multiple times, his defense, his passing, trying to be in the right spots. And that he has gotten better. In fact, his defensive rating has gotten considerably better from where it was last year. It was around, that's been important, Chris.
And we're going to break, 61-52. Mike was talking about the passing. Here's Kuz into the lane, lob it up for JaVale. Got it. Of 61-52. I'm being joined right now by Mike Trudell. And Mike, as we saw during the suspension of the NBA, a lot going on in our world and especially in our country. You see Black Lives Matter, the message on both sides of the NBA court. And recently, Frank Vogel talked to you a little bit about what the Lakers were doing about social justice by bringing in Dr. Brown.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Dr. Karita Brown, a terrific professor at UCLA. She was hired as the team's director of racial equity and action back in June. And this was coinciding with the franchise celebrating Juneteenth. And, look, Dr. Brown's goal really is to help educate the Lakers further in the organization's push towards what they want to call progress on racial and social issues, Chris. And it's been something that's, they wanted to make sure they were taking a leadership role in this and not just being a passive participant in all of this. Tim Harris, the president of the Lakers, and Jeannie Buss, of course, the owner, were really driving this and wanted to find a way to make sure that employees had a chance to further their cultural knowledge. And there have already been weekly calls. Every Wednesday, Dr. Brown joins the entire staff on a Zoom call. She's had some terrific guest speakers from around the country, a lot of professors and educators and journalists. So it's really been eye-opening, and I think that it's something that's been very important for the Lakers to not just the players, the staff, and really everybody, Chris, to try to really embrace what's been going on in this movement across the country.
Yeah, we appreciate that information, Mike. Great stuff as Quinn Cook hits a layup and the Mavs come right back and scores 65-58. I want to get your thoughts. Big game, James. You and I have talked on the phone over these past few months about all kinds of issues and social injustices, and I've talked to you and reached out to you, and we've talked about talking to our kids and what that means, and you mentioned this on the pregame show, educating our youth. So big game, go ahead and jump in there.
Sweep history under the rug and not teach it in high school and elementary school. I think that is a big problem. And, because of videos now, we're understanding the history. Obviously, all lives matter. But I think in the case of what we've seen with the brutality on film, I was here with Rodney King. I myself, in the early 70s, integrated elementary school. It was a tough time, and we need to talk about it. And I think finally, and I mean finally, I think the platform is there for us to have a diverse conversation and, you know, make things better amongst us.
Big game. If you had a chance to talk to Kareem, we had him in studio for an interview, and Kareem just always so knowledgeable and always so great to talk to. All of his work dating back to Martin Luther King Jr. and his first time protesting on the campus of UCLA.
Yeah, he was in the famous photo with Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Bill Russell, you know, some great athletes who were all about economic empowerment back in the late 60s. So when I came here to Los Angeles, I was lacking about 15 hours to graduate. And Kareem was one of my tutors on the back of the bus in the hotel. If you talk to him about history or anything that deals with, you know, being an activist, he will talk to you for hours and hours and introduce you to books that he's read. He's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to history and these type of issues.
Appreciate your thoughts there, James. 67-61, Lakers leading just over 4 minutes here in the third quarter. Seth Curry has been fantastic for the Mavs. 19 points and 7 for 7 shooting, 5 for 5 from 3. J.J. Barea. Another 3, this one short for Dallas. Dion Waiters. Waiters only played in 3 games this year for Miami. And Waiters hits the 17-footer, 69-61. That gives Waiters 7 points. Three ball in the corner is good. Tim Hardaway Jr. played at Michigan. He has been great for this Dallas team, especially over the last 20 games, as Kuz hits a much-needed shot for the Lakers. 72-64. Curry again. Seth Curry, shooting like Steph Curry, 6 for 6 from 3. He is second in the NBA in three-point percentage at over 45%. He is just fantastic today. 67-72. Dallas right back in it, trailing by 5.
Yeah, easy to get those two brothers confused today, isn't it? You know, Seth has had a really remarkable, kind of an under-the-radar season for the Mavs, and no doubt about it. You know, Porzingis and Luka Doncic are the reason why the Mavs are in the 7th seed right now. But you have to have some good support, too. And Curry and Boban are two of those guys who have really stepped up right now.
See Kyle Kuzma hitting that shot on the replay. Mike Trudell and I were talking about Kuz, and Mike brought up a great point, a point that I feel I'm always speaking to when I speak to Laker fans about Kuz as a starter. Waiters 3 off the mark. Uptick in minutes. When he plays the minutes and gets the shots, you see the numbers go up.
Yeah, Geeter, last season he had 39 points in a game in Philadelphia. He had 41 points against Detroit. He was the Rising Stars MVP. He's got some skills. Let's not forget it.
We're going to break. Lakers clinging to a 2-point lead. Dion Waiters. Welcome to the Lakers. He has 9 points. Time now for the Lakers calendar presented by Nissan. 2 more scrimmages to go. The Magic, 9 a.m. on July 25th, and Monday the 27th versus the Wizards at noon. You can see them both right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. And then it begins. Thursday, July 30th, Lakers, Clippers, followed on Saturday by the Raptors, and then the Jazz on the 3rd. Remember, the Lakers will play 8 seeding games to get ready for the playoffs. Dion Waiters for the first time in a Laker uniform. Lakers leading 72-70. Dion Waiters with 9 points on 3 of 5 shooting. 1 for 3 from 3. Story of the third quarter has been the Dallas Mavericks in red-hot shooting. Seth Curry, 6 for 6 from 3. 3 of those here in the third. Mavs, 10 for 23 overall from deep. Hardaway Jr., last 10 games before the break, averaged 20 points per game. Came over in that Kristaps Porzingis trade from New York. J.R. Smith dumps it back to Dwight. He fumbles it. Boban blocks it. Jump ball called. So, Allie, we get our first look at J.R. Swish.
I mean, they don't nickname him Swish for nothing, right?
There's reasons.
Get ready for some long three balls from J.R. Smith. But the other thing we have to remember with him, again, he hasn't played in an NBA game since November of 2018.
That's going to make a big difference.
Yep.
Because no matter how much he's kept himself in shape, not being, even in practices, can stymie your game. So his experience will bring him forth a little quicker, I think.
And to that point, James, we talked to him one-on-one the other day, and he's in physically great shape, came in prepared mentally. He says he's ready to go. He's locked in, couldn't be happier. But he did say when it comes to getting down the terminology on the defensive end of the floor and understanding the schemes, it was going to take him some time. And I think these scrimmage games are awesome, an awesome opportunity for him to kind of develop that.
Probably more beneficial to someone like him than anybody who's been out of the game, as you said, Allie, since 2018. There's a lot of defensive principles that change in a season that he's been away from. So just being out of the practice habit is enough to, have to catch up.
612 days since his last NBA game. I did that math earlier, not right now.
And Maxi Kleba ties it up at 72, and you're looking at Talon Horton Tucker, THT, 46th overall pick in the 2019 draft. His first shot off the mark, but it's nice to see him in the game for the Lakers.
Chris, Frank Vogel had some nice words about THT when he was talking about him last week, saying he looks good. Like he has really done well in these practice situations in the bubble so far.
Yeah, THT playing for the South Bay Lakers. They do such a great job developing Laker talent, as we've seen over the last few years.
Alex Caruso, front and center on that list.
Joey Buss, Kobe Carl, everyone involved. THT just played in 2 games for the Lakers, 5 minutes overall, still looking for his first points. But for South Bay, he was averaging over 18 points, over 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Allie had mentioned Dion Waiters maybe picking up some ball handling responsibilities. You see him kicking it out to JR.
Swish.
Almost big game. THT not afraid. Kuz, offensive rebound. Lakers down by 1.
I feel like Kuz, right before the All-Star break, really started to improve his rebounding. I feel like he was thinking, okay, not getting as much attention or as many opportunities on offense, I should say. And he really tried to do other things, played some good D, and really pushed up his offensive rebounding numbers.
Boban, Marjanovic.
Brez, another thing with Kuz is, talent without principles and theory doesn't last long in this league. I mean, you can play, but I think he finally, submitted to learning the principles of the game. Like you said, getting offensive rebounds, finding other ways to be great, because we know what he can do offensively.
And a nice pass by THT, but Dwight unable to convert the dunk. End of the third quarter, the Mavs on a 27-13 run. They lead the Lakers. We'll be back as you see the messaging on the shoes. And welcome back. The Mavs ended that third quarter on a 27-13 run. They lead the Lakers by 3. No AD and LeBron here in the second half. I want to bring in Mike Trudell. One thing the Lakers will be looking for, ball handling responsibilities, running that second unit without Rajon Rondo. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, Chris, so we know that it was 6 to 8 weeks was the time frame that we had originally when Rondo got hurt and had the surgery shortly thereafter. We know that he's not there in Orlando, so it's probably closer come this weekend to about 4 to 6 weeks. And Frank Vogel did expect that if the Lakers are playing at that point that he would get him back into the lineup. But yeah, secondary ball handling, that is the thing that Rondo did the most of. You see Deion Waiters there creating a play for Dwight Howard. That is one thing that Frank Vogel is excited about the prospect of seeing, because Deion can take players off the dribble. He can get into the paint, again, as you just saw. So that's one option. You also have Quinn Cook, who just had a shot at him on the bench. And then Caruso has done some of the playmaking there with the second unit. Now, here's the other thing, though. LeBron James is going to have the ball in his hands for much of the game, especially in high-level playoff moments. And it doesn't just have to be guards either, Chris, that fill in for Rondo. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that could be Anthony Davis having some more possessions once they get to the half court. That could mean Kyle Kuzma, who can certainly create off the dribble and get his own shot. So they have a lot of different guys that you can see it, and it's probably going to be more of a committee than just one player whose focus is like Rondo's, which does seem to be primarily to be a passer.
Mike, I think you bring up a great point. When people ask me who's going to be the backup point guard, I say, well, in the playoffs, you got to remember LeBron's going to have that ball for about 38, 39 minutes a game.
Yeah, and there's nowhere else that you'd rather have the basketball, right? Like any lineup that you look at, if LeBron is on the court, you want him to have the ball. And J.R. Smith there making a little play. So, LeBron's mastery of NBA offense is such, Chris, that he's just an offense all onto himself. That's what he's done. He leads the whole entire league in assists this season. But there are times also where you don't want him to have to carry the full load as a playmaker, because there are other times where he's such an effective scorer. He's so effective going to the basket that you do want to give him some help there. And that's why I think these seeding games coming up, in addition to the scrimmages, are going to be important just to see who else can establish a bit of a niche in terms of setting up plays when LeBron is either on the floor and you don't want him to, or when LeBron is getting his rest.
Mike, congratulations. I know it's just a scrimmage, but the Laker players are happy. Devontae Cacok gets his first 2 points with the big club. The rookie out of UNC Wilmington. That's a nice moment, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Cacok can play. Okay, if you watch the South Bay Lakers, and I know a lot of Laker fans got a chance to this season, he can play basketball. You talk to some of the Laker players, they're aware of it because he was really good in training camp, and that's a guy who Frank Vogel could call on, and maybe there's another one, Taylor Horton-Tucker.
And there's his first 2 points, back-to-back, Cacok, and then THT. And the fellas are loving it. And by the way, that all started because of the defense and the rim protection from Dwight Howard, something he has done all year long for this Laker defense. That's why they're 3rd in defensive rating. Lakers now lead by 2. Deion Waiters throws it up. Cacok. Look at JaVale McGee going nuts in the background. That's what I love about this Laker team, how much they pull for each other. Mavericks fire 3, miss, Boban. And Boban's teammates love it. Oh, Boban. His 11th rebound, 10th point, 4 for 6 from the field, 81-81. Waiters. There's Dwight in the post. And the foul by J.R. Smith. We're all tied up at 81.
Foul charge against number 21, J.R. Smith. Second personal. First team foul.
Lakers will play Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pre-game show at 8:30. Have a little brekkie, coffee, and join us. Brez, what are you bringing for everyone that morning?
I'll be bringing a nice collection of pastries for everyone. I believe it's my turn to bring in food. Might have a little omelet bar as well. I know you're a big fan of the Denver omelet, so we'll have that done for you.
Not too into buffets right now, Mike, but that's okay. I appreciate the thought and the effort.
There'll be a socially
wait a few
distanced
more months.
omelet bar.
I'm good to go. Lakers trail by 2. J.R. Smith back out to Cacok. He's going to shoot a 3. Dwight. Maxi Kleber deflects it off Dwight's leg, so it's Dallas ball. And James, you got to think from this point on, Coach Carlisle and Coach Vogel just want to stay healthy and get some guys some run and get out of there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Boban!
No
Sorry,
injuries.
sorry,
Boban.
James, I got excited.
Boban, I did too. He's an exciting player in great shape. Yeah, Geet, I think, first scrimmage, you're not looking for too much. Just guys getting familiar with each other, getting them down the court, getting in shape.
THT with the rebound. And he's excited. Boban from long range. Boban's got 15. Dallas leads by 5. And for the Jack in the Box, game summary, LeBron James, full steam ahead. 12 points on 4 of 6, 5 assists, light work in 15 minutes. Anthony Davis, 5 of 7, 1 for 3 from 3. Back it in, hit the J. 12 points they combined for 24. And the Laker bench. Welcome to Waiters Island. Dion Waiters 3 for 7 with 9 points. 36 points off the bench. 7 different Lakers scoring. You see Dion Waiters. And Big Game James, I want to bring you in. Not bad for a debut. 14 minutes, 3 for 7. Also, as Ali pointed out, showed the Lakers and their fans he can handle the basketball.
Hey, look, we're going to need him. Here's a guy who's a proven shot maker, not afraid to take the big shots. And there are going to be times that we're going to need that creativity. And on top of that, once he can break down the defense a little bit, the ability to distribute the basketball is going to be vital, especially until we get Rondo back, or we might need that second ball handler in the game. So as you see, pretty good, 3 of 7 from the field, and has proven himself in an early scrimmage game.
Justin Jackson out of North Carolina gets the floater in the lane, 88-81. Quinn Cook in the game with J.R. Smith, THD, Dwight, and Devontae Kaycock. And right there, J.R. sees Dwight Howard for the alley-oop. Maxi Kleba.
He can hit that. Good young player. He can block some shots, hit some threes. Another part of Dallas is a young, bright future.
Yeah, Dallas Mavericks definitely building for the future as we see this alley-oop one more time. Great recognition and the role and the setup by Dwight.
Peter, we talked earlier about kind of Dwight's season of redemption. We talked about him off the court, how he's been really friendly with fans pre-COVID. Really wanted to kind of reach out and almost like a my bad. Let's have a retake, a redo of 2012-13. But on the court, he's been great for the guys. Very good offensive rebounder and scorer, too.
We're going to break. 5:50 left in the game. Dallas leading the Lakers 91-83.
Top to bottom, it's wide open. This is a playoff matchup that needs to happen. Trying to get a restart here.
NBA TV2 Restart Show, Brooklyn Nets. Next on NBA TV. Live NBA games are back.
My goodness.
Watch regular season games live from your phone, TV, or tablet. The race to the playoffs is on with NBA League Pass. To order, go to NBA.com/watch.
Time in his 17-year career, there he is dropping it off for JaVale McGee and then getting into the lane and finishing. And what about that? Backdoor lob to Kyle Kuzma. LeBron James, 12 points, 4 of 6, 5 assists. 15 minutes of action. Frank Vogel telling the media before the game, you will only see LeBron and AD in the first half. And if you're a Laker fan or part of this Laker organization, you have to be real happy with what you saw from this Laker team in the first half. Shooting over 65% from the field. Defending. Lakers down 91-83. THT on the floor. Antetokounmpo on the floor. He gets his rebound, and he's fouled.
Back to LeBron for a minute. I really like what he's done with his game this season. Right? He's a few months away from turning 36. I think we all are aware of that. But I like how he's added the passing element. He's always been a really good passer, don't get me wrong. But of the many things he's done in his NBA career, he has never led the league in assists. That will happen, barring a stunning turnaround in the 8 regular season games. So he's not, revolutionizing his game, but he's kind of tinkering with it a little bit and saying, hey, I'm going to look to pass a little bit more this season than ever in all my previous years.
Kostas Antetokounmpo, brother of Giannis, at the line. Member of the South Bay Lakers, averaging 15 points and 8 rebounds a game. He's played in 3 games for the Lakers, still looking for his first points. Quinn Cook also in the lineup with J.R. Reed. Justin Jackson. Good defense by K-Cop. He was the CAA Conference Defensive Player of the Year when he was in college. THT to the rack. Yeah. Lay it up and in. Mike Trudell, Frank Vogel recently raving about THT and what he's been able to do with his body, getting in shape, and with that has come confidence. THT again, this time just misses. The up and under with the left. And Mavericks take advantage on a leak out, 93-85.
That crowd is really good.
You're enjoying it, aren't you, James?
Yeah, you listen to the game, you hear the sneakers squeaking, and it sounds like it's 20,000 people in there. Pretty cool.
Big game, I think that's been a big topic since the beginning of the restart when they got to Orlando. What would it look like? The intrigue behind hearing the players and coaches. Will there be crowd noise? Who has the advantage not feeding off a home crowd? Is it a veteran team? Is it a young team? All those coming into play. It's going to be so different, James. Unprecedented times for our entire country and world, not just the NBA.
Yeah, and I think veteran teams definitely have the advantage. Preparation, discipline. But Geeter, I know in my time, whenever I got a big dunk or something or a big defensive play, that response from the crowd kind of pumps you up. If you're tired, it gives you that extra energy that you need. So I don't know quite what it's going to feel like for these guys getting an artificial crowd, but nevertheless,
big game.
It sounds good from here.
Yeah, big game. Let's keep it real. We're talking 80s, Showtime era, the Forum Club. Are you kidding me? You can't match that.
Can't match it, especially the Forum Club, Peter.
Imagine you diving on the sideline in Game 6 in '87 and there's no crowd.
No response. I'd be upset.
Yeah, still haven't added quite all the game elements yet. For this game, there was no player introductions beforehand. There was no national anthem. That'll be the same for the next 2 scrimmages, but then they will gradually add those elements and some more time on the clock as well. Only 10-minute quarters tonight, but for the second and third scrimmages, it'll be 12-minute quarters.
Quinn Cook did not play in 11 of the Lakers' last 20 games. He has a ring when he played for Golden State. He's been to 2 finals as a member of that Warrior squad. He is one of the most well-liked guys, not just on the Lakers, but in the entire league. Born and raised a Laker fan. His dad, who passed away when Quinn was younger, was a huge Laker fan. Boban. Somewhere, Tobias Harris is looking and smiling. His former best friend.
I think he misses him.
He does.
Just a little.
Now that Luka and Boban are having so much fun on Instagram.
He's a little left out, doesn't he? Sad.
I got to say, Ali and Brez, Ali, we talked about this for months, literally, on every show we did during suspended play. Will it happen? What's your confidence level? So many times we thought it just wasn't going to be possible. Props to the NBA, the owners, the players for getting this done. And here we are, Ali. It's happening. The Lakers are playing basketball.
I mean, it's phenomenal. It really is. And it's a kudos to the league and how detailed they were with every step of this process. And it just goes to show another thing that I saw on social media leading up to these scrimmages starting, but we're seeing it here live now, watching it, is the distancing, the spacing between players on the bench and coaches, them having their own little stations that allow them to have the water, the towels, the mouth guard placement, all of that. It all plays a part. It's all what is going to ultimately make this thing be successful. It's what we've all wanted, and it's what they tirelessly worked so hard to accomplish. And again, we're just in day 2 of scrimmages, but things look to be flawless. The players look to be comfortable. And it's all you could have expected and asked for. Yeah, and medically speaking, I would add to that. A few weeks ago when the players were tested individually in their hometowns, it was about a 6-7% positivity rate for COVID. Then they brought everyone into the bubble. Right away, it was down to half of 1%. And then in the most recent testing, almost 350 players were tested. Not one showed signs of having COVID. So some amazing numbers there as well. The gradual decrease of players testing positive.
It just goes to show you that Commissioner Silver, he took it serious from the beginning. It could have been easy for him to go ahead and play those games that were in progress or about to start, but he shut it down quickly and educated the entire league and the communities about being safe. And the reopening of the NBA took some more serious conversations with doctors and, I'm sure people from CDC and things like that, just to see how they could do it. And you see right there, they got the plexiglass up at the scorer's table in the bubble. Players seem to be very comfortable. And so, hats off to the NBA for how they attack this and how they're handling it down there in the bubble.
Concur with all three of you as you see the distance seating. There's Kristaps Porzingis. James had mentioned the plexiglass as the referees review the clear path foul. So the Mavericks will shoot free throws and retain possession. Lakers' next scrimmage, July 25th, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. We'll have the pregame show for you at 8:30. Coming up after this, if you missed anything, Allie, Brez, big game, doing the post game. We'll show you highlights, break it all down for you. How did LeBron and AD look? Everything. That's ahead of you in 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Boban having himself a game with 17. Look at THT. Great shot fake, unable to convert it. Such valuable minutes and opportunities for the South Bay Lakers. THT, Antetokounmpo, K-Cock. It's great to see these guys at the big club. JR, and one. And his teammates are happy because JR hasn't scored since when, Allie? Brez, anybody? When's the last time he played?
2018, we think.
612 days since his last NBA game.
Dwight loves it.
That's first press roll.
Alec, did you get me to call you? You were locked in.
Trudell, you still with me? Mike Trudell's busy.
Anybody in there?
Mike Bresnahan's here if you need him.
Hey, Brez. Yeah, we're doing a social distance broadcast. It's been a lot of fun, guys. I'm out in the trailer. We call it the Fiji room. Mike Trudell joining us now. He's in the green room. That's where he will be for all the games, providing the sideline reporting. Billy and Stu will be in the room that I'm in right now. And Mike, it's been a lot of fun, actually, and checking out everyone's Instagrams. JaVale McGee's done a great job, and seeing what these guys are doing in the bubble. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is a group of guys that genuinely likes each other and is, when you thought about them originally all going down and being in this bubble concept, at least I, from talking to a lot of these guys, knew they were excited about all this time they were going to get to spend together. And I know that it might be different for every team depending on what their championship aspirations are, but this is a squad that from LeBron on down to the end of the roster, every time we go to a road city, they'd be going to dinner together, organizing movies, events, bowling, all kinds of stuff as Haycock gets into the action. So that was one thing, Chris, that you felt good about this squad going down there, because it's a real genuine thing, and I do think you see that play out on the court. LeBron is the ringleader. He's the one that's posting most in their group text thread, along with Jared Dudley and Kyle Kuzma. Those are the guys that I heard were the MVPs of the group chat. But yeah, man, that's something that's been really prominent on this squad, and I think it's been helping the way that they play together on the floor.
Yeah, in the background you see Markieff Morris. He is now with the team, and the Lakers are happy about that. You know, Mike, it's interesting too. You know, for a lot of these guys, when in their lives of being a professional athlete, are they just going to be in one spot for 2 to 3 months with one thing to do, and that's hoop? It's really unprecedented.
There's no question, it's just never happened before, and you know, I think they're even if you think about the other sports that are going around in Europe, European soccer, they've been in their home stadium still, right? So this concept hasn't really existed in that format, and the good news is that, led by LeBron again, led by AD, and you're taking a look at Morris there, the mission has been very clear, and LeBron and Frank Vogel too are very good about just keeping these guys focused on what's in front of them directly. So all they're thinking about right now after this game is the next scrimmage game, and then they go from that to the third scrimmage game. So they're not worried yet about who they're going to match up with in the first round. Yeah. It's been a just take what's in front of you mindset, and everybody says that in team sports, Chris, but we have seen that be more effective for the Lakers this year.
And I like the playoff process, Mike. I like that it's 4 out of 7. I like that there are no gimmicks. The one addition they did is awesome. It's the 9 seed if you're within 4 games. Being down 1-0 and having a chance to win 2 in a row to grab that 8th seed. I think that's going to add some excitement, some intrigue. We've never seen it before, and especially if you're a Laker fan and you hang on to that 1 seed, 5.5 game lead with 8 to go, you're most likely going to play that 8. And who's it going to be? Right now, it looks like Memphis, but hey, how about Portland getting healthy, looking awfully good? New Orleans at full strength. Sacramento. Could be any of those teams. It could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're right, and you honestly won't know, right, until it gets down to it, and that gives some Laker fans and really every NBA fans out there a chance to focus on some of those games that are coming, especially towards the end of these seeding action, because you're not going to know who you're going to play if you're the Lakers, and that just leads back to that whole mindset of preparing on what you can control yourself. And once it becomes evident, though, Chris, if those teams do have to play the playoff games, they'll be the 2 days before the first round of the playoffs. So that's one little advantage that the first round team, or the first seed, I should say, would have over somebody potentially playing in to get to that game.
103-95, Dallas leading with 1 minute and 47 seconds left. Reminding everybody that you will see the rest of the scrimmages right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. That is 9 a.m. on Saturday, noon on Monday, and then the real thing starts July 30th, next Thursday, a week from today. Lakers, Clippers. Many believe, I was one of them, back in March, that the Clippers and Lakers were on a crash course to play each other, Mike, in the Western Conference Finals. Everyone thought Bucks, Lakers, Clippers, the 3 teams with a legit chance to win. The crazy thing about this, no one knows now. It's 4.5 months later. Team could get hot.
Yeah, there's no question about that, Chris, and I think that it probably opens the field a bit more. You're looking at the Western Conference there. We'll see what Houston's able to put together, right, with that unique style that they're going to play, going small, not really playing centers. Is that something that could catch a team in round 2, say? Is that something that they're going to wear down as they had started to in the regular season? We don't know. But again, the Lakers, all they can really focus on right now is staying healthy, and that's what Frank Vogel's and their staff and Rob Pelinka and everybody wanted to make sure they had all of their medical people on site, and that's the benefit that they have when you see that 5.5 game lead. That's the biggest thing, Chris, because one injury, and you'll knock on wood for every team, but one injury could make such a big difference once it gets down to the bubble as the things advance.
Yeah, I look at that Western Conference as they review who the ball went out of bounds on. and you see the Clippers in that bench with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, part of that starting unit, their first year together, what they've been able to do. Denver, getting to a Game 7 in the second round last year. Jokic, Jamal Murray, Houston, as you mentioned, Westbrook and Harden, how dangerous they could be in this setting in a 7-game series. Oklahoma City, one of the hottest teams over the last few months in the league. A team like Portland making it to the Western Conference Finals. No one's even talking about them right now. They got Zach Collins and Nurkic back. And they got a guy named Dame Time. Round the back, JR. Antetokounmpo with his bucket. And the Lakers climb to within 6. Kostas has 5 points. Block called on Kostas. So the South Bay Lakers plus JR and Quinn Cook battling. Trying to get back in this. And if you missed this, check the re-air tonight on Spectrum Sportsnet as we take a look at JR's play. Oh, he plays defense too, Allie, James, and Brez. A little behind the back.
He can hit threes, and he's pretty high up on some of these steals lists for some of the career guys. He's logged a lot of time. It's easy to forget that, but he's pretty good at quite a few things.
13th all-time in threes made, 1,929, J.R. Smith. And just like October, guys, when it's the preseason, I'm already ready for the real thing.
Well, Gita, you know, this will be our first time in the playoffs in some time. So,
oh, man. Big game, James. 8 years together.
Yeah. I have a special drink for you.
I bet you do.
We tip off the first playoff game.
I bet you do.
Yes, sir.
And let me just say this, James. I'm all in. THT getting his hands on the ball, strips it from Boban. Lakers are down 5 with 28 seconds. JR's going to shoot a 3.
Rich.
And he makes it, and the Lakers are down just 2. Who says it's only a scrimmage and you don't care? Lakers foul. They're going to send right to the line. Frank Vogel probably thinking, we don't really want overtime, but I wouldn't mind a couple of misses here and a 3. Let's show JR's 3. Boban just to go ahead and shoot it. We're good. J.R. Smith now 1 for 4 from 3.
By the way,
Dallas with a 4-point lead.
He is 9th all-time in threes in the playoffs.
Lakers are going to call timeout. Frank Vogel going over situations here. Down 4, 18 seconds. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment as Vogel draws up a play, try to get a quick score, get the ball back.